I'm 35 and I left Canada to live in Ecuador, and I'm going to tell you all the pros and cons of living abroad. Now, whether you're a digital nomad or you slowly want to travel the world, you want to move permanently, or you just want to leave for the winters, I'm going to tell you the advantages and the disadvantages so there's no surprises when you leave. Now, my name is Ryan Wiersma, and I'm going to tell you my story. At 25 years old, I bought a piece of land in Ecuador. I spent all my money and some. I went into debt, but I did get a piece of land here. I then went to the oil patch, worked my butt off, and I saved up money, bought some real estate, and then built my dream home at 32 years old. Now, this is my house here in Ecuador. It is the industrial look, so I can always remember all the hard work that I needed to do to accomplish this in the rigs. Now, the town that I live in is called Montanita. It's a little surf town on the coast. It's absolutely awesome. It's got great surf breaks peppered along the whole coast, north and south. It's bloody great. And the reason why I picked it is I love the beach lifestyle. Even when I was younger, it was my favorite lifestyle, living on the beach, surfing waves. And when I built this house, it was just a real dream come true. Reasons why I left Canada. Well, first of all, the cost of living has got out of control. It costs so much to live there. A bag of groceries costs $100, a coffee $7. And it just seems like everything in Canada is just extracting money from you, and I don't even know what value I'm getting. I actually made a video on how much you actually pay in taxes right here. Pay about 62% in taxes off $100,000 made in Canada. So you keep about $38,000, which is just crazy to think that's how much money you pay in taxes. Another thing is we kind of have crazy first world problems, like we don't know what a woman is, and we're putting a grotesque amount of energy into this problem instead of, solving world hunger or energy crises. And it's just such a simple thing. A woman is someone that can have a baby, and a man has a dick, So problem solved. Now let's go solve better and bigger problems. Another thing I don't really like is the homeless and the fentanyl problem. I haven't seen anyone homeless here in Ecuador. And if anyone's twacked out on the streets, the cops pick you up and you get thrown into a horrible, horrible jail, which is a thumbs up by me. Also, we lost the freedom of speech. People are terrified to speak their mind in a group. And that is a really dangerous thing. They're feared of getting canceled, feared of getting fired, fear of saying what's on their mind. And this is an extremely dangerous thing for a country when we start to lose freedom of speech. Also, we've lost the nuclear family, which really sucks. We have an over 50% divorce rate. And it's just not really it doesn't end well for the man, particularly in Canada. There's other countries that it works out better for the man, worse for the woman. But for Canada, as a man, it's not really an advantage to get married because there's just such a cost if it doesn't work out, right? And in Canada, I always feel like I'm late and anxious, I always feel like I gotta be doing something. And finally, I hate the cold. Not a big fan. Now, there are some cons in leaving Canada. I have an amazing family and I got amazing friends, and it's gonna be awful leaving those people. Not only that, we have amazing systems. Our banking system is amazing. It's awesome. When we go into a store, the payment system is so quick and easy. It's so wonderful, where you don't get that in Ecuador. Our roads are pretty damn good. Like the side roads are pretty bloody good. Here in Ecuador, not so good. And we have a beautiful country. Canada is an absolutely beautiful country. And I'm proud of that. We take a really, really good care of it. Maybe too good care of it, but it is a beautiful country. So let's talk about the cons of, let's say, moving to Ecuador or moving to another country. Now, first of all, Ecuador speaks Spanish, so if you can't speak Spanish, it's going to be a bit tougher for you, right? You don't need to be fluid, but you need to kind of get around to buy things because majority of the population does speak Spanish. So that is a definite con. Another con is they don't have great side roads. So the highways are pretty bloody good, but the side roads are not great. And when it has torrential rains, they do get uncrossable. So that is definitely definitely a con. They have another con is they have terrible systems. So their banking system, it might take an hour or 2 hours to do anything with a bank. And it is frustrating, especially if you don't speak Spanish. Not only that, when you go, like today I went to buy a machete and it took 15 minutes. No one was in line. It was just me. It took 15 minutes for a lady to find the machete in the computer. And then halfway through that, she was starting to talk to somebody else. So the process of exchange of cash for goods is absolutely awful. And it does make me go crazy. Something that should take a minute takes 15 minutes, and it does drive me nuts. Now, another con people would think is Ecuador is dangerous, and Ecuador does have dangerous spots in the big cities. And I want you just to get some perspective here. There is no school shootings in Ecuador, and there's lots in America. Now, if you go to, let's say, the most dangerous cities in America, like Oklahoma or New York, or let's say San Francisco, you go to these huge cities, they're going to have really, really nice places and really, really dangerous places, the slums, the favelas, the projects, right? So I've never, ever had a problem ever in Ecuador. I've only met great people, and I've only had wicked honesty. I've never been robbed. I've never had anything bad happen to me. Now, let's just say you want to go to the bad parts and you throw a bunch of money around, and let's just say you buy a bunch of drugs, you might run into some problems. But let's say you're a normal person that, leaves the airport, goes to a decent area of the city, and then goes to some travel spots. You're going to be 100% fine. Nothing bad's going to happen. And I mean, where in your country do you walk around with gold chains and wads of cash and flaunt it around to people? No one does that. And you don't do that here. And people have done that here and nothing's happened. So Ecuador, to me, I wouldn't say is very dangerous. I've had more violence committed to me in my country of Canada, and I've had more people steal large sums of money from me in Canada than here in Ecuador. And people had bigger and better opportunities to steal from me. So to me, I find Canada, I've had more problems in Canada on that side than in Ecuador. The pros of living in Ecuador are, first, it's the cost of living. You get about a 5x on your money. So if you have $100,000, you have about $500,000. If you have $1 million, you have $5 million here. So you really have buying power here. And you can live an incredible life. I mean, when I go for lunch, it costs me about $3. A really nice meal is maybe $15. A beer is $1. And for me to live here, and I do whatever I want, whenever I want, it's about $700 a month. My water is $8 a month. My electricity is $40 a month. I mean, the costs are so much less, and there's so much less stress because of that. And I get to work on things that are important to me. And that could be things that are important to you. You always want to learn how, or you want to write a book, or you want to learn how to play the guitar. You can do that here and live an incredible life. The next pro is they have strong community. I mean, the community here has power. It really, really does. And if you mess with community, it is a dangerous thing. And that is what makes Ecuador, all these small communities, so powerful, right? They have an amazing community. People, I go and I forget my wallet. A restaurant says, pay me tomorrow. There's no problems there. Next is they have the nuclear family. So they have very, very strong families here, which is something that I truly believe in. I love the strong nuclear family. That is a big winner for me. Next is the food is way better for you. So everything is way fresher, caught up from the ocean, freshly killed. There's no preservatives. And you know this because the meat goes bad quickly. Everything goes bad quickly. So you basically buy your food for the day and then you eat it that day and you go buy food again because we don't have it laced with sugar and preservatives. And the last thing is mentally, it's like I dropped off a bag of rocks. Just nobody cares about what you say, what you do, and it's such a relief. No Karens are telling you what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. And it's a hard thing to explain, but oh my God, is it amazing to just not worry about nothing. It's just the best. And I can give you an example. I have the dog analogy. So if you have a dog in Canada, when you buy that dog, you pay $2,000 for the dog, and then you got to get it chipped out. You got to get it spayed and neutered, and then you got to get it vaccinations. You got to do a variety of things. Now the dog's in the house. You can't have the dog bark too much, or someone's going to call the police, and the bark police are going to tell you that your dog can't bark. You got to have it on a leash. You got to pick up the dog ship, and you can only take it off the leash in the dog leash parks. Now in Ecuador, you buy a dog, and that's where it ends. You throw some rice and some kibble in a bowl, and that's all there is to it. The dog shit on the street, and the rain washes it away. They run on the beach, and the dogs have a great life. The people have nothing to worry about. And I just want you to think of that one little thing, how much less stress you would have if you had a dog here in Ecuador. And Canada has put all these taxating stresses on you, where here they just don't exist. They just don't exist. And that's something that I truly love. So, and the conclusion is, Canada, I just don't see the value, or all Western countries, I don't see the value what I'm getting, paying for all the taxes, paying for all this food, and living a life of constantly being told what I can and can't do. And here in Ecuador, I get so much more buying power. I have so much more freedom. I do what I want when I want. And that's making amazing videos like this for you guys. And that's what I like to do. And in Canada, it just wouldn't be feasible because it costs so much to live there. I have to work so many other jobs. I hope this helped. I'll talk to you soon.